Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets, interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen. Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages. I am your host, Kim Wanup, and I'm still off. I feel like I'm getting away with something here. I feel like I won the lottery being off, but knowing I have a job, it's different. It's not like I'm off and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know when I'm going to work next. That's a little scary. When you know you got a start date, the pressure is a little off and you feel a lot better about yourself because you know it eventually you're going to get a paycheck, hopefully. So it's not like I'm sleeping in every day. I got the twins. They wake up by 7 every day, but it is very refreshing to have time off. It makes you miss the pain kind of thing. And now I'm at the point where, I miss it. And I'm super enthusiastic about my new gig. And you get a gig, you just start working. Your mind just starts working. You start looking and researching and doing everything, and you're not on the clock. And it's hard not to work when you're not working, when you have something you're going to work on. I don't know if that's in every position, but I think it's certainly in the creatives. I think we definitely start to get back in that mode of constantly thinking about our jobs. So yeah, I was at Sony last week, which the Sony lot, and I just wanted to tell the story that I actually giggled to myself because I walked past the stage of Wheel of Fortune, which was one of my first jobs. And I giggle to myself that I actually worked on Wheel of Fortune and I loved it. And that might be part of the retirement plan to get back into that because it was a great job. Just everybody's happy. It's on autopilot in a good way. And everybody's just so happy to be there. All the contestants and the audience. I just remember the feeling of everyone just being happy to be there. I've been chasing it ever since. So yeah, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a homecoming because that's the first big lot that I worked on. So yeah, it was nice. I wanted to continually thank everyone who has been reaching out to me, especially this week, some students who are enjoying the podcast and helping them to decide what path to take, which is kind of the point here, that I'm putting this information out for people who want to get into this business. So I am overjoyed that I'm helping, even if it's just one person, and that these interviews with these professionals in different departments are, making someone help make a decision. It's really great helping someone. So that's just amazing. So on that little social media reminder, sign up to the email list and get alerts for upcoming episodes on the Decorating Pages podcast website, decoratingpagespodcast.com. On Instagram, it's Decorating Pages. The Facebook page is Decorating Pages. You can email me any questions if you have anything you want to ask, basically. Or if you are a professional in this business and feel that you have a story that you want to share with people, give it to me. Kim Wanup at decoratingpagespodcast.com. And I'm sure if you're listening, you're already subscribed, so thank you. But if not, subscribe on your podcast listening platform. And most importantly, rate and review. Gotta rate and review, or we're not going to be friends. That's all I can say. This week, what Wanup is watching, I watched The Batman. Now, first of all, the production designer James Chinlund and set decorator Lee Sandalis. Gorgeously dark film that I'm sure a million details were missed out because of it being so dark. But I thought it was really beautiful and perfectly done for the storytelling. I got my popcorn. I turned off the lights. I tried not to scroll through my Instagram and check my emails. And, because when you're in a theater, you're respectful to people. You don't take out your phone. But when you're at home, these self-inflicted distractions that we have of the phone or folding laundry. And so I really tried to make an effort. I'm not doing it. I'm going to watch this movie, even though it's 3 hours long. I'm going to just focus. And I was really good in the beginning, a little hard. I did it. So I would have to say, I didn't look up who was in the cast, like, when it comes out and they announce who's in it. So I had forgotten that Colin Farrell was in this film. And for the life of me, I can't understand why people aren't talking more about Colin Farrell being in this movie. He was fantastic. And I didn't even know it was him. I had to look it up. I thought the makeup was fantastic. I thought Robert Pattinson was good. He just seems like a kid, though. Like, I thought he was really good when he had the Batman on. But then when he was Bruce Wayne and, like, the hair's in his face and he's all emo, it's just distracting. It wasn't hot. And I'm accepting Christian Bale for so long now, it's really hard to give into a new Batman. And he just looks so sad, and not in a strong way either. It's like he's a depressed teenager is all I see him as Bruce Wayne. It wasn't, I don't know. I don't think he's the best Batman. I thought the film was really good. I thought it was a different take on the Batman. And I like that it didn't go back and do the same stories over and over that we've all seen 20 times. The look of the film is fantastic. There's architecture in almost every set, in every scene. Very industrial. I'm not giving anything away here. That there is one set that's very reminiscent of John Doe's apartment in the movie Seven. I'm pretty sure there was a reference thrown out in the concept meeting that's what it was supposed to look like. And it's fantastic. But as soon as I saw it, I was just like, oh, there's John Doe. That's Kevin Spacey's apartment. But it's great. It's really great. I thought it was really good. I don't know. I didn't find it too dark either. I know there was that whole complaint that maybe it was too physically dark for people. But HBO might have lightened it for TV. I don't know. The costumes I thought were great. They were reimagined just enough to make them fresh, but iconic. The ting of humor was missing in this version, but whatever. I liked it. I would recommend it if you're checking it out. It's 3 hours, maybe 2 sittings if you can, but I was super excited that the boys fell asleep early one night, and I was like, yeehaw. Woohoo, busting out Batman. The other thing I started watching this week was called Under the Banner of Heaven. It's on Hulu. And the production designer Renee Reed, and then 3 set decorators, Amber Humphreys, Trevor Johnston, and Sarah Monteith, I believe. It's odd to me that there was 3 decorators in this. I'd love to hear that. Why? Because I just think that's fascinating. I think there should be more decorators. There's like 20 art directors to every 1 decorator usually. So it would be nice to know why. I'm all for it. This is it's like a murder mystery. So it's period. I think it's late 70s, early 80s. Are they in Utah? No. Yes, I think they're in Utah. I think they're in Salt Lake, maybe. It's a lot of religious stuff all of a sudden, so I don't know if I'm going to keep with it. But I like the period aspect of it. The feel of it is really good. They really nailed a lot of the costumes and the color palette and everything. So, yeah, that's besides all my other things I'm still finishing up. That's what I started this week. So, yeah. On this episode, I speak with director of photography Simon Dennis. Simon has been working the last 5 years nonstop in the Ryan Murphy world, and he makes it look stunning, I have to say, and I'm not biased at all. Growing up outside of London, Simon was making films at a young age, like a lot of us, and he admits to even making his mom the gaffer. Starting out in shorts and then videos and then small films, and then he sprung into like Doctor Who, Peaky Blinders, Black Sails, Pose, Politician, Hollywood, Versace, Ratched, and then I just worked with him for the year and a half-ish on American Crime Story Impeachment, and it was a delight. He is a very charming man. His new project is the limited series Candy, which will air May 9th on Hulu. So I hope you enjoy. Lou. I was talking to him about design and the podcast and everything, and I said, I gotta get Simon, and he goes, you haven't heard his story? I go, no, I haven't heard his story. And I go, don't tell me his story, because I want to act surprised when he does tell me his story.
Does he mean how I got to America?
I don't know. I don't know if you're like Fievel, you shipped away on a boat. I don't know, American Tail.
Yeah, I got here on a plane. Well, yeah, it is a pretty bizarre story if he means what I think he means.
Or how you got into all of this, like how you got into being.
Well, all right. So I can tell you the story, which I think is the story. Well, basically, it's in two halves, right? There's how I got into the film industry per se in England. And then there was how I got so lucky and ended up like literally getting an offer of Ryan's show, Versace, out of the blue without no interview, nothing. So I'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
So how I got in the industry. Okay, so this is like a 6-year story.
Okay.
It's crazy and it's a bit meandering. So I'll try and be kind of precise. Because when I left film school, basically, I love films. I had no concept of how films were made. And eventually I didn't even know what a cinematographer was. I didn't even know there was a cinematographer. So I wanted to be, the only thing I was good at was art, right? So I was like, I think the only thing I could probably earn money out of is being a graphic designer, which is sort of loosely connected to like advertising.
Right.
Which is sort of loosely connected to filmmaking. So I thought, well, that could be the cool thing. So I went to this place, I got into an art school, and I was a kind of goth. If you can picture me with hair, right? I was a complete cure freak, right?
With the eyeliner?
I had the whole thing. Yeah.
Wow.
The long black coats, everything. Yeah, I don't think I had eyeliner though, but I was obsessed with the Cure. Anyway, what happened was I was sort of like digging it, and I was like, I think I still want to be a graphic designer. But anyway, part of the course was weirdly to make this like 20-second abstract interpretational video based on a short passage in a book, which they pulled out for us. So all they wanted to be is literally 20 seconds. So they had like a camcorder, a couple of lights, a tiny little studio, and we all had our turn in making what we thought was our version of it. You know, one person had in fact, one guy had an American flag burning down in Canada, which I thought was very risque. Anyway, so I kind of did this short film, and I was kind of proud of it. And I was like, oh, you know what? This whole camera and lights thing, it's kind of cool. But at that point, all I wanted to be was a director. That's all anybody wants to be if they go to film school. So I was like, well, I think I should probably try and go to a film school. And the only one that was sort of I got into was more of an audio visual course, which was in a place called Worthing, which is not that far from my hometown. So yeah, when I left film school, oh, by the way, when I made this short film, afterwards, I sort of tested myself, and I made a short film with my brother in the lead. My mum, this is so funny, my mum was the gaffer. I didn't even know what gaffer was, but she put the lights up.
But now you know.
But now I know. Yeah, years later, it just made me chuckle. Like, oh my God, my mum was the gaffer. Like, anyway, so I made that short film. It was like a ghost story, and I sort of was like, it was terrible, really. I mean, there's no dialogue. It was, my brother couldn't even act. So I made that. So I got into this audio visual. I know it was. You know what? I'd love to try and find that in the attic one day and just look.
I just love that you're like, he couldn't even act. I mean, I couldn't do anything with him. I was a director, and I couldn't get anything out of him.
Well, here's the thing. That makes me a bad director, right? Because I couldn't get a performance out of my own brother. Anyway, so I kind of used this short film, and I got into this film course, audio visual course. It wasn't even a film course. And basically, it was like a camcorder generation filmmakers course. There was hardly any like lectures. There was one films tutor who was like this burnt out, like, I shouldn't say that, but he might be listening. No, he was a lovely guy. But like, basically, we were just like kids mucking around with like camcorders. Yeah. So like we'll do, which is, I think, is the best process in filmmaking. It's just like, I think, who was it? I think Rodriguez said that everyone's got like at least 20 or 30 bad short films in them. You just got to make them.
Yeah.
And you make all the mistakes and make terrible things and learn from them. So I did all that. And then I made a graduation film on film, which I didn't shoot. At that point, I was still directing, or wanted to be a director. But at that point, I watched this person that was called a cinematographer work. And I still remember his name. He was called Marcus Waterloo. He was a lovely man. And he was kind of like, I'm sure he smoked weed or something. He was like, he's just like really out there, like, and it probably helped. Anyway, so I'm getting to the final thing here.
No, this is what I want to hear. This is what people want to hear.
I went to this, and then I went to a second film school, which is more an official film school in Scotland. So I got into that. And basically, it was much more professional, but still hardly any lectures. But it basically let us free to do what we wanted. And this was a kind of film school. So I bought an old Arriflex camera with my student grant. And I then started to one of the remits was to do, basically you had to kind of do a bit of everything, right? You had to be a sound recordist, you had to be a screenwriter, you had to be a director. And one of them was being a cinematographer. And I did that. And I just instantly, a light bulb in my head, literally, almost literally. But I was like, geez, this is amazing. Like, this is so cool. And I was too timid to be a director, if honest. I knew at that point. So long story short, we graduated from film school. We went to the park, me and my kind of friends, it was like 6 of us. We got really drunk because at that point we were like, it kind of hit us like, where the hell where is the film industry? Where is it? Like, is it in a building somewhere?
Right.
Is it? We didn't know. We were like, I had no idea. So we got really, really drunk. And my friend Martin, who is still a friend to this very day, he went to the corner store, the liquor store, you guys, and he got some more drink. And he bumped into a friend that was like working at Virgin Records. So a Virgin, I guess you guys might have heard of it. It was Richard Branson's brand, right? And this guy's like, we've got to make a bunch of music videos really quick, and we have nobody to do it. And he just lied. He was like, I can direct. My friend Simon, he can DP. He's amazing.
And his brother's an actor.
His brother's an actor. He's won loads of awards, right? He's telling all this. Anyway, this guy was like, sure, just here's my number. So like, contrary to like almost coming out of film school and like literally going into this void, which was like searching for work, I was shooting music videos, 35mm music videos, about 2 weeks after graduating. Right?
That's fantastic.
It's right, and that was just luck. If that hadn't happened, I think I'd just be drifting. I'd probably change careers. But so what happened was I then shot loads of music videos. This is a number of years ago, by the way. And then I kind of did my first feature film, which was. I just lied my way into it. I just said I could definitely shoot drama. I had no idea about drama.
Dimensions?
I had no idea about. No, this was a film called Last Great Wilderness, which was directed actually by David Mackenzie, who years later made a great film called Hell or High Water. Nominated for.
Oh my God! I didn't scroll down enough and see.
Keep going. It goes on and on.
You have.
Dimensions is like 10 years. This is. I'm gonna. I don't want to show my age. This is like 20 years ago, okay?
Well, yeah, I was working 20 years ago. We're not.
Yeah.
That makes us better.
So anyway, I just shot loads of, I just basically slept on a lot of couches. I made I made no money, but I just shot like probably about 10 really terrible movies, like terrible. Like,
Well,
I
yeah.
had no
I mean,
idea.
you
I
have
was just
so
saying
many.
yes to anything I could get my hands on.
You have
And
so many shorts, and then director,
shorts.
editor, producer on the short, and then cinematographer,
Yeah,
short,
so I directed a short
editor.
when I was at this film school I told you about, the official film school. I was like, this was prior to me discovering cinematography and what it was, right? So I directed a short which won a load of awards actually, and I wrote, and it's a very simple little short called Iota, and I was very proud of it.
Iota, yeah.
But it's sort of, I tell you this, it's kind of like once you learn, I think every DP basically should direct at least once, even if they don't want to eventually be a director, because I think it's really important to stand in those shoes, you know, and understand what it feels like to make the decisions of a director and their process and stuff. And so, yeah, I did that, but eventually I wanted to be a DP, and that's what I did. So I made loads and loads of really low budget. I shot loads of really bad feature films. Not bad, I shouldn't say that. I mean, they were just, I was just learning. And on any
But you're doing like, I mean, look, this has 2007. You have like 6 films you did. Like Octane, Call Me, Harlem Foe, Dead Eyes, Underground, Messages, like.
Yes, I kept, like, basically I just kept working. I just went from couch to couch. I just, like, you know, at one point, I remember sleeping in somebody's garage. I'm not lying.
But why weren't they paying you? I don't understand.
Well, in England, it's a different process, okay? First off, there's no union.
There's no union, right?
There's no union, so you can't really look up to some entity to kind of help you. There's nobody to guide you. So you basically just have to, like, I mean, listen, I was probably earning $500 a week.
Being a DP? On a film?
DP, right? On a low budget movie. I'm talking like a $1 million movie or $500,000 movie. And these were movies that were shot out the back of a small box van, you know, with everything in there, like lights, cameras, everything. And yeah, man, I just kept shooting, and I thought at some point things would break, you know, a break would come in the way of something that was recognizable. Yeah. And I guess if I'm jumping right ahead, the big break was probably Peaky Blinders. Yeah. And again, the story is so bizarre because I was like, had no intention of shooting TV at all. I wasn't even interested in TV.
But wait, you did Doctor Who before that.
So here's the thing. So I did 1 hour of television, right?
Right.
1 hour of television, and that was Doctor Who. And the only reason I did Doctor Who was I loved it as a kid, and I wanted to go in the TARDIS. That's all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was, I didn't even want to film in there. I just wanted to go in there and press buttons and flashing and stuff. So anyway, what happened was the director of that, Colin McCarthy, who's a great friend, and he's a very talented dude, and he was the one director on the planet in England that was then offered Peaky Blinders season 2. And so season 1 of Peaky Blinders was out. It was like this, everyone was like, have you heard about this show? Have you heard about this show? It's very cool. It's like a Western, but it's like The Godfather, and it's got amazing soundtracks with PJ Harvey and Arctic Monkeys and all that, and Nick Cage. Nick Cage? No, not the actor. Nick Cave, sorry.
Nick Cave.
Red Right Hand, the song. Anyway, long story, basically he got the job, and I don't think I was kind of, I'm maybe at this point, I'm not saying, I'm very humble, right? So I don't say I don't really think I was completely qualified, but.
Well, absolutely you were.
I've done 1 hour of TV. Anyway, he got the job, and basically he took a massive risk in himself. He said, do you want to do this? And I was like, well, hell yeah. I mean, and it's a bigger budget this time, and basically it's a bigger canvas.
Yeah.
And we get to like go to, the story goes down to London, and the kind of like the gangsters are kind of taking over more territories, as in the gangsters, the lead principals, you know, all the amazing thing about Peaky Blinders is it's a story about all the underdogs and the bad people, you know, or what you'd consider like gangsters. So they're kind of misunderstood in the way that if you watch The Godfather, you're watching a lot of bad people do bad things, but actually they're not bad people. They're just trying to survive. Right. They're just trying, you know? So anyway, I did Peaky Blinders, And then I kind of was sort of going around in circles a little bit, even though I did Peaky Blinders. Weirdly, it didn't explode for me in a major way. And this is the thing about England, I'm not going to put down, but it was like I was kind of expecting the phone to ring a lot and nothing. And so, long story short,
I thought that after Miami too. I was like, I'm gonna get a raise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this.
Yeah.
This is good. I mean, something.
It's gonna phone right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did was I for some reason that there was a director called Scott Spear, an American director that again I think sort of had seen my work through some channel or some social media, and I was in America grading another project that I'd worked with Colin on, which was sort of a Superman story called Krypton, which was shot in Europe, but it was like kind of Warner Brothers production.
I hadn't seen that, but I looked that up. That looked amazing.
It was amazing, though. Again, it's a long story because they ended up recasting one of the lead characters, so they reshot 2/3 of my episode. But at least I got to walk away with like some good stuff. Anyway, Scott Spear got in touch because I was in LA and I met him at his house up in the Hollywood Hills. And this was like so exciting. My first time driving up the Hollywood Hills, I was like, I've made it! I'm driving up the Hollywood Hills. And he had this amazing house with just the best view of LA, right? And I'm sat there and he's showing me all this concept art. So long story short, he offers me this movie he's doing. It's a ghost story. They're shooting it in Winnipeg. And so anyway, I go to Winnipeg. It's very, very cold. We shoot the movie. We get it done. It was really tough. I mean, I think like it wasn't tough. It was just cold. And if you got...
It bears on you. Yeah, it gets to you.
Yeah, it really gets to you and you can't focus. And anyway, I did that movie. So Scott, I think one of his buddies is, and this is the connection now, is Nelson Cragg. And Nelson started up as a very young, up-and-coming cinematographer, did Homeland, did a bunch of great stuff. I don't know, I'm picturing what happened was Nelson looked me up on Facebook. So basically, in the interim of all this, I used Facebook, and I'm punting Facebook right now for anyone who wants to try and kind of get anywhere. It's basically I just lied to a lot of people and asked to be their friends, and basically focus pullers, DPs, grips, anybody, anywhere.
Well, that's networking. That's
networking. So I thought one day if I got a question about lenses, I can just post it online and they can help me out, and they could be my friends, you know.
Yeah.
And one of these people I friended was Nelson Cragg, and he must have seen some of the posts I was doing. I was trying my best to do PR, and this is maybe what Jamie was talking about. So I've just come back from Winnipeg. I'm in a pub, like thawing out, literally. Right? I put my feet next to this fire, right? I'm having a cold pint and I'm reading the paper and I'm thinking, okay, well, it was nice whilst it lasted, you know, this movie. I went to LA once, you know, and then I get a message on Facebook and it's Nelson. And he just says, it's so short. He just says, hey, do you fancy coming to America and shoot a crime show about Versace? With Ryan Murphy. First thing I said, I put my foot right in my mouth. I just said, who's Ryan Murphy? Well, you know, listen, culturally from England, I didn't know.
No, but you know his work. I mean, you know.
As soon as I Googled, I was like, oh my God, how stupid. Anyway, he says, I'm going to go and meet Ryan in about an hour. I'm going to show him your reel. Do you still interested? At that point, I still thought it was a complete joke. I thought he was just winding me up because I was like, why are you asking me? You're a DP. He was basically going to shoot the first 2 episodes of this show, Versace, and then hand it over to anyone he can find. And so, he kind of came back to me and was like, yep, showing him Ryan your reel. He loves it. Wants to invite you over. Do you want to can you get over within 3 weeks? We can sort your visa out.
But you had also done Black Sails, which is a huge show.
I did Black Sails, yeah.
I mean, you're showing that off too. That's a lot.
That was another big, but the thing is that show was interesting because I wasn't even like interviewed. I remember actually interviewing for that project and not getting it. And like 2 years later, they were in trouble because they had so much material to cover they ended up needing to like have 4 rotating DPs, so they brought me in for like 2 months to help out. So yeah, I did that. That was very cool. It was kind of pirate show. Everyone loves pirates.
Yeah, but it was very.
Especially
I mean,
when,
I watched that. I mean, it's a hugely done show though. Like the ships and the
yeah,
sails and the effects
it's
they have to
amazing.
do, and like the
Yeah.
sets are amazing.
Yeah, I think it was one of your questions you sent me was about that, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
about how you do VFX. But anyway, so that's the story is like 3 weeks later, I was in Fox Studios, and I jumped in a van, and I was on Scouts, and I was like, oh, then this is actually happening. I thought they were going to literally make me get all the way there.
Well, once you're in that scout van, they got you.
I had to check it wasn't April Fool's. Honestly, I was like, because I guess I'm so kind of like in my head, kind of like, I just expected it to go the other way.
Different way.
It didn't. And I also expected to get fired every day because it was it was millions and millions of dollars that I've never seen. And then Ryan's shows, as you know, are gorgeous and giant. These sets are massive.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I mean, Nelson had basically pre-lit a lot of these sets. So a lot of stuff was like pretty much like walking in and just picking good angles, and working with all the different directors. And so that's my story.
On Ryan's stuff. Is that what you mean? Picking good angles? Yeah. Well, I think I appreciate a Ryan Murphy world because most of his shows keep it wide. And you get to see everything, and there's a lot of character. There's a lot of character in the sets that he's trying to convey in his storytelling, and that's what appeals to me. The craziness of how everything gets done on his productions is crazy, but I appreciate the artistic of it all. I just love. I mean, I didn't like Ratched, but it was beautiful. I didn't like. I mean, the Politician I thought was okay, but it was gorgeous. Like it was like I just kept wanting to watch it, and the same with Hollywood. I mean, there's just so many scenes that you're telling the story with just that one shot, that wide, and then coming into the characters. Like I just appreciate that so much.
Yeah, whenever I've done podcasts before, and the thing that I keep saying about Ryan's work is because it is obviously extraordinarily beautiful. Yeah, and it's so meticulously processed creatively. Yeah, it's like his world is all about architecture and fashion. Yeah. Obviously, really good script. So he's got a great writing team. He's got a great design team. He's got Lou, the costumes, like he's basically got a massive following, or people that follow him that he follows them. He's very loyal. Yeah, and he promotes a lot. He promotes from within a lot. Oh my God! The first time I was driving through LA and I saw a billboard of a TV show I shot, I honestly couldn't. I was like, I'd stop. I had to pull over. I was like, it's actually happened. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I remember being in New York and shooting Pose. I don't know if I told this story. No. So we're shooting at this diner, and this cab just pulls up into shot, right? And we're like, okay, cut. The cab's in shot. On the side of the cab, this is how advanced they were on the PR, was a Pose like teaser poster, like oh my God. On the taxi that's in the shot of Pose shooting. Oh, you should have kept it in as an Easter egg. They should have kept that. But that's what his advertising and posters and everything gets everywhere. And their kind of campaigns are so beautiful as well. Yeah. They're so lovely. The title sequences he does. It's just kind of like perfect filmmaking for TV, really. And like you say, like there's so much like 3 dimension in his world as well. It's not like he just gives you a couple of walls. He gives you 4 walls, Yeah. And of course, Jamie, as you know, and you guys had to fill the complete content of those 4 walls all the time, and that I know was incredibly challenging. But that's fun. That's why I'm there. That's what I want to do. It's it shoots tomorrow. Yes. That's the only thing Ryan wants to go blue, not green.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing with Ryan is he's always right.
Well,
no,
when Jamie brought me on, I did Veep, so I studied the White House for like 4 years, and then I was like, oh, I got this. This is easy. And then it was like 2 weeks into prep before COVID, and she's like, so I met with Ryan, and the color palette is oatmeal and urine. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like red, white, we're in politics.
Put urine into your oatmeal.
Yeah, it's red, white, and blue, Jane. And she's like, yeah, no, it's gonna be completely mute. Everything has to be muted. So everything I thought I was gonna do, for me turned, and I'm sure for you, like chasing a color palette on any of his shows is a challenge.
Yeah, but I mean, I love color theory, right? I think it's like 2/3 of DPing. Lighting it's just a given with the job, but color is so amazing, and yeah, I mean, I just follow where he goes with it. I mean, I can definitely have a view on things, and I love color theory. On Ratched, I remember like he used reds and greens.
Yeah.
And when I was doing prep, this is what's so amazing. Like I was like reading up on Vertigo, the Hitchcock movie, right? So
I just watched Vertigo last week.
Oh my God. So Vertigo, I don't know if you know this, has got an amazing color theory that threads the whole story. So like red, if there's ever red in a scene, it's all about obsession and love.
Oh.
If there's ever green, it's either like a dream or a distorted reality.
Well, what about the dining room scene? It's a green dining room. Isn't it a red dining room and she's in a green dress? It's both.
That's right. And the thing is, the colors swap. So he ends up wearing red or something, or like plum. I can't remember.
Oh, in the ending when he's trying to make her.
So when he meets the second version of her, it goes into it almost goes through the mirror into another color theory thing. And then he had like a thing where if you ever saw blue or yellow, it meant you were in reality. So when I remember reading about that, and then what Ryan was applying to Ratched, and I can't remember the life of me all the color theory details, but I do remember like green was almost like envy, and we try to do those color shifts. You remember those on set where sort of, which I felt was very like Scorsese, or I don't know what Ryan was referencing, but I mean Vertigo as well is beautiful because there was that lovely scene where she sat in silhouette with the green neon light from the hotel outside.
Yeah,
it's so good. But yeah, his colors are just. It's not just thrown at the wall, It's like whatever. If he says it's going to be oatmeal and urine, you better be sure Ryan's right.
Well, and in the production,
just go with it.
Well, yeah, I'm not questioning it. I'm just sort of like, okay. There was the one meeting where he references especially with Impeachment, he was referencing a lot of like All the King's Men and these 70s movies, and it was that Warren Beatty Western film, Mrs.
Maybe Mrs. Miller.
Yes. So I like immediately that night was like watching that, and I was like, I can't see anything. I can't.
Oh
it's so dark. It's so that movie's like done by like a candlelight or something. It's so dark, and I was like, and it's pink. The movie's basically all like flesh tone and pink.
It's like it goes into a whole winter theme.
And then I'm like, what are we doing? I came to Jamie and I go, what?
I know.
I don't get it. What am I doing? Am I doing it right? Like, am I like? But
I think what might happen is that Ryan wears these shades, right, when he watches movies, and they're like oatmeal shades.
Yeah, oatmeal shades.
And you watch and go, I don't see it. But like, yeah, Impeachment was. I mean, he was pretty direct. I mean, he said to me, like Parallax View and All the President's Men, and All the President's Men was probably the biggest one because ultimately, even in the color correction, it came out obviously oatmeal and everything, but it was very desaturated and it was almost like a silver. It wasn't monochromatic, but I remember like the final look that I was sort of a part of, but ultimately I was again wanting Ryan and Alexis to guide their look that they all saw, but.
Alexis is the editor.
But Alexis loved this thing where one day I said to her, you know what, we can't do 10 because it says I want it gloomy, and I says we can't really do 10 hours of gloom because like you're saying, like I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming up with this term called glam gloom, and I thought that's the best way to keep everyone happy
Yeah.
because Ryan was glam
Yeah.
and wanted
Genius.
gloom, and so basically you make it a little bit like glossy and a little bit gloomy, and you get those two together, and it kind of worked out really well. So they were happy.
Yeah, I mean, there was quite a bit of like it had just rained, or it's raining on the window, and special effects trying to get that done, and the cloudiness, and like in Linda's house, and like
oh yeah, he wanted no sun.
Yeah, no sun.
No sun. In LA, you're going to shoot in LA, but I don't want any sun.
And
I'm like, I don't think I can get a machine in every location. But yeah, I ended up using North Light because I'm European, of course. So I'm so used to gray.
Right.
So I was very comfortable. Like I was like, yeah, I can light this. I think, I can do the kind of gray gloom thing.
But was there discussion of shooting White House versus like the residences like Monica's and Linda's differently?
Well, I think there's three worlds. So there was the White House, there was the Pentagon, and then in between all of that was Linda's and Monica's homes.
Yeah.
So Monica's home was it was just interesting because basically I had this beautiful vista, right, of the outside world. It was like a fishbowl.
Yeah.
Whereas Linda's place, because Linda's a little bit, Linda Tripp, and it was more about sort of window treatment, and everything's a little bit dark in there and a little bit scatty and not always that orderly. And because she is not an orderly person.
Yeah.
She's mentally quite crazy, but I think completely misunderstood. So yeah, I think majority of that was like trying to make their two worlds polar opposites, but they ultimately become kind of twisted friends, And then the Pentagon was basically just more like, the script said it was like a fluorescent hell. So I was like, I don't really want to go down this like very trendy kind of green fluorescent. I think that would be a little bit weird, especially skin tones.
Yeah.
So we ended up kind of going almost like gray white fluorescent. So and Jamie did an amazing job that made everything look almost like silver and tones of grays and blacks.
Yeah. I was worried about, and it was a discussion maybe like a week or so before we shot the Pentagon was, do you need more light in there? Oh. And then there was
it was a giant shoebox.
Yeah,
I tell you, that was a very challenging space because it's kind of shadowless. It's really hard actually doing fluorescent lighting, DP wise. It's not like fluorescent lighting that people know, like that one strip light that makes things look a little bit dark but contrasty. This was like,
and it was so high. Like it wasn't giving you anything. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we had to what we'd end up doing was me and Jeff Gaffer would basically we would kind of have different settings above, so everything kind of fell away around the edges, so you had a little bit more contrast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't. It's a tricky one because I guess she was playing it more truthful. I guess on hindsight.
Well, but then we added those
played really low.
Yeah.
I think ultimately if they made it like half the height, and so your head is only like 3 or 4 feet from the ceiling, you have these kind of amazing run of lights. But yeah, it was a challenge, but I didn't mind it after a while. I mean, the thing is, it's sort of a place where you don't know it's like a casino. Like there's no reference of light. There's no clocks.
No. But then we added all of those cubicle lights.
Which were great.
That
helped the contrast. Yeah.
I was scared of, in a sense of like, it's going to look like a lamp store. Like I can't, I don't.
It didn't actually.
But it didn't,
no.
like in daily, like in looking at it, the way it was shot and put together, it wasn't overwhelming when we had them on or even in the shot. So it worked out for me.
It was all based on cubes, right? It's a cubic system. So it's
everybody's issued the same thing. That's kind of like, government issue, same inbox, same this and
yeah.
But Yeah, I think too, having Monica's cubicle closer to that one, glass office really helped too,
Yeah.
because then you could shoot through that and get her
Yeah, yeah.
get some
I think
lighting that
that's
way.
again like these decisions, like you have to be careful about these decisions about where you put characters because it's basically for the next 10 hours of
Yeah.
your life.
And at
And
first
so
they
if
had them
you,
really close. First they had them closer. Like, well, how are they going to
yeah,
hear phone calls and everything? But it kind of worked, them being just a tad more far apart, that it was so weird that she was so obsessed with
yeah,
her.
like whenever she poked her head over the
Yeah.
top, Lynn would be there, just there. And
Yeah.
I love some of the. Do you guys have that? There's a little cartoon, and it's a guy climbing over a wall, and you just see his eyes like this.
Oh, like.
Anyway, there's an amazing scene where like we just framed the partition, and all we
Yeah.
saw was Linda's eyes.
Yeah.
And
Interesting
it
eyebrows.
just said so much for that scene. It was so funny because there was her and her cubicle mate. There was like
Yeah.
I was like they're gonna make a sitcom out of
Well,
these
yeah,
two
the Sarah Burgess was like, "That's my
like,
next. I'm doing Linda's
typing
cubicle."
and
Yeah.
stapling, yeah, and like, and then you had like Linda like twitching
Yeah.
and eating her little, you know, her kind of crisps in her bag and stuff.
How is
It was
your?
very funny.
How is you know? I know I talk about all the time when I work with a designer. So many times you just develop this shorthand, and you just sort of go with it. You talked a little bit about like the trust that Ryan Murphy has, but when you're in there editing and you've done like or how many episodes you've done with him, is it just a shorthand now? I mean, you're coming up with glam gloom and like you're selling him
Yeah,
on. Is it?
yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, if I'm speaking on behalf of Ryan, it's very, because Ryan is a very private filmmaker. He's not, he just basically is very honest with you. Like that's
Yeah.
what I love about him.
Yeah.
Like if he hates something, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I actually think that it's much better. I think it's a better, not everyone on this planet can do that. Not everyone has the ability to shut something down for an hour to rewrite something.
Yeah.
Or 2 hours, 3 hours, or even just leave halfway through because it's not working for him. But like, I think the shorthand is that I kind of know the little things he likes and the camera movements he likes, and he likes a lot of punctuation with camera. He likes to punctuate things, and sometimes he'll just do one line of dialogue out of like 3 pages that
Right.
has a camera move, and he'll do it until he's happy, and he doesn't leave a set until he's happy.
Yeah.
So I think like all of these things together, I've just learned a lot from him, because it's like it's a different process than saying guest directors, because guest director would literally be in the trenches with you. Ryan would want to be, on the other side of the stage in a nice, comfortable environment where he can think properly, and he can, and so basically we would do a shot, and then I would kind of run over, go into the room. Ryan would then describe the next shot, and it's just one shot at a time, and I just like it. It's very simple, and like I'll show it. And what he does is, I think the trust is now is like he'll just say, "Show me something."
Yeah.
He tells you how he is interpreting this scene, but also what I'm not afraid of. Because the thing about Ryan is that there's a sort of intimidation factor, and a lot of people are intimidated because unless you can stand in front of him with an idea. Because like it literally just runs on ideas. Like if you come up with an idea, he's totally happy to hear it. I mean, I remember blocking a scene, and when I was watching this scene, all I could think about was Silence of the Lambs. So I was like on my phone Googling in the corner of the room, and I pulled up this image, and I showed Ryan this image, and at this stage of our relationship, I kind of know that he will kind of either say, "No, it's definitely not what I'm looking for," or "Oh my God, yeah."
Yeah.
And what he did was he just took my phone and he put it out. He just raised it up. He was like, "Everybody, this is the first shot."
Yeah,
and that's trust. That's
Yeah.
trust. That's great. I mean, you have to come halfway with somebody.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just a robot doing shot to shot,
Well, yeah, and
And you have to work fast.
well, yeah. But I think the trust that he starts to have in people gives the confidence to be able to give an example, or give like, no, I'm confident in suggesting this for this shot. Like, I think that's it too. And I do think that there is like a fear cloud around him, but I don't think it's him.
No, no, not at all.
It's this, I don't know what it is. I'm talking about like on stage, like on, like in production. It's very weird to me.
Well, it's to me, it's a little bit like this. It's like the Pope arriving. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
No. It's Devil Wears Prada. She's walking. She's walking. Guard
he's
your
walking.
loins. Guard your loins. He's yeah.
He's got out of the. He's got out of the car. He's coming into the front door.
Yeah.
And I'm going, guys.
I don't get it. It's laughable. And I said,
ADs, like, they have this formula with Ryan, and it basically, I get it, because they kind of pad him. You know, they lead him through the set, so he's not even like. Anyway, you know, there's basically the C's part, right? When Ryan comes on set,
right?
Everyone shuts up. He walks through, and either he's in a kind of like a mood where he's like, or he's in some kind of like, what are we shooting today? Which is, you know, again, we're so busy on all these shows.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I kind of I'm like, guys, and I'm because I'm so like,
but
I'm this kid from America, from England, who is like, all I want to do is shoot cool stuff, shoot great stories, and as long as you got ideas with Ryan, all you have to do is have an idea, and he respects you. Yeah. And also, don't lie to him. Like, don't tell him it's going to take 20 minutes. Like, if you say it's going to like take 40 minutes, do it.
Right.
But don't lie to him, or don't sort of say something and then do another thing. You know, he's like a hawk. He sees everything.
Yeah.
And and he's just like
the directness is I greatly appreciated, and I think that's one of the things that Jamie McCall really liked working with him. Like, I show him these mood boards, and he either likes it or he doesn't, and then we all know that's what we're doing. Like, that's it.
Well, the thing is, there's zero wastage with Ryan in time. This is why he can walk in set and the camera could be rolling within 15 minutes. You know, it's that direct with him.
But there is a thing like that. Like, there was a first production meeting, and he's like, okay, so this shot is walking hallway, walking hallway. And I'm like looking at Jamie on Zoom like, we don't have that many hallways. Like, what are we gonna do?
3 circles.
What is a guy changing out artwork as they pass by?
Yeah. Well, remember, Jamie built that extra. We built
an extra hallway.
So he could do the Steadicam shot, so and then in the moment he did this. He took the left instead of a right with the Steadicam and went back into the set.
Yep.
So we didn't even use that.
Never used it. Yeah.
The Xerox machine. Yeah. Oh my god! And that was the one where I don't know if you remember, but Ryan literally closed down. He was so unhappy with the state. You know, it's probably on the page actually that he didn't like, and it was 2 people talking at a Xerox machine. And he was like, "This is so dull."
Yeah.
Okay, we're not shooting this. We're gonna shoot something else. And I'm like, Simon, stay outside the door. I'm gonna rewrite this. And he rewrote it and made it into an amazing, like, mysterious thriller-esque. Yeah, it was a different. I mean, it was totally right. You know.
Well, anyway, it's like we were down at the Biltmore, and we dressed a hotel room, and then he was like, I'm been in a hotel room for 2 weeks. I'm not going up to that hotel room. And I was like, what?
He says, this is how he's got a massive heart. He says to me, Simon, don't hate me, but I want to shoot in this ballroom in about 20 minutes. And he just literally walked into a random ballroom space.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's put a camera here and a camera there. Great. Okay, where can we get the crane? Let's get the crane. You know, and off we go. It's like, the thing is, if I was like...
Jamie and I dressed that set in 10 minutes because my crew was gone. My crew had
like 50 chairs.
Yeah,
a little TED Talk thing.
Yeah, the prop guys were helping us bring chairs in. Like, I was like, okay, well, I don't know. Do you think he'll like it? And she was like, he said whatever we can do would be great. And I'm like, yeah, but does this make sense? Like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, but it was a commitment.
He was right. Like, it's boring.
As I said, such a charming guy, so talented, just a good soul there. And I'm not saying this because he made our sets look great. He really is super talented. If you look at Peaky Blinders and Black Sails, I mean, those are some beautiful, beautiful scenes. Choosing those interesting camera angles to tell stories, that is really a talent, and I am in awe of it. I did consider going into the camera department to be a DP at one time. It was a small time. because I respect that position a lot. And I will be honest, the camera department is intimidating to me, even to like break into just talking to the camera people. I've always felt that they're a really tight group and they've got their own language, which, I mean, every department does, really. But they are kind of a very tight group, and I don't even think they talk to anybody else. Maybe they talk to grips, I don't know. And I think that had an impact on me trying to take that path. And it wasn't just one project that I felt that on. I still feel it. So, yeah. And I mean, that's silly that intimidated me not to take that path. Because look, I'm a talker. I'm talking to you. So, I don't know. Next week, in part 2 of my interview with Simon Dennis, we talk about Peaky Blinders, his DP inspirations, and we really dork out on our love for 70s films. One film in particular, which, it's a good one. His badass DIT village that he built with these giant screens, it's something beautiful. And I think it should be on every set because the big screens are just perfect for everyone to look at for last looks, and the on-set dresser, was really great. So yeah. I also, after that, have set decorator William de Blasio coming up in like 2 weeks. And then after that, I have a whole episode just about inspiration, about what's inspiring and what inspires you. And so, yeah, it's going to be a good May. I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wanup for Decorating Pages. With Memorial Day just around the corner, summer is about to kick off, and it's the perfect time for free shipping on your Stogie Floaty luxury pool float. Available on Etsy, and use your promo code FLOATFREE on stogiefloaty.com.